Welcome back to the Stock Report, and obviously we only had the Navy and Army game this weekend, and I say only, it went to double overtime. It was a banger of a game. But I wanted to use this video to take a look at some of the players that I haven't highlighted over the course of the season, players that you're probably going to want to know the names of because they're going to be in the Shrine Bowl or the Senior Bowl. So we're going to take a look at some of those guys today. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead and get this thing started with Xavian Valdez, running back out of Arizona State. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He was a former 2-star recruit out of the 2017 class. He chose Wyoming over Purdue, and essentially he played, for the most part, all the way up until 2021. They're at Wyoming. He is their second leading rusher of all time, right behind Brian Hill, who actually had a pretty okay NFL career, and he decided to move to Arizona State, where he looked great, man. This cat finished first team all Pac-12, and for the most part, what he brings to the table, he plays with good burst. He gets to top speed fairly quickly. He's relatively a very smooth mover, shows good full body strength, working through arm tackles, keeps his feet moving through initial contact. And if you know me, then you know I love guys, regardless of the position, that move their feet through contact. I just absolutely love it. He's shown the ability to move piles. He has good experience catching the ball out of the backfield, and he can be dangerous out in space. He has a good committee back potential. So we're talking about probably a late day 3 guy, because he does tend to run with a high pad level, runs real tall, and it really results in him going down off initial contact. On top of that, you do want to point out he had 4 fumbles in 2021. Prior to that, he only averaged a fumble a year. So might not be a concern in the NFL, but something that's worth noting. Also a guy that, I think he's got adequate speed. We're talking like maybe a 4.55 guy. But overall, like I like his potential, but it's like none of that. It's not high. I feel like I've gone over a lot of the guys with high upside in this running back class. So we're gonna hit Valdez out of here in terms of we're gonna knock out one of these probably late day 3 guys. Next on the list, Old Dominion's own right tackle Nick Salivary, and this cat's 6'6". 315, got a Senior Bowl invite, so I was like, I need to check out this cat. There were a couple of other Old Dominion Monarch prospects I want to check out, but one of them, Ollie Jennings, is returning, so I'm going to save him for the summer since he's not only returning, but transferring. But let's talk about Salivary. I'm just going to call you Nick because I really feel like I'm butchering that last name, but former 2-star recruit out of the 2018 class, redshirted his freshman season, didn't play in 2020 because Old Dominion basically canceled their whole season because of the Rona, but he did play right tackle in 2019, and he played in 2021 and in 2022. He's also played a little bit at right guard, and I think that's probably where he plays in the NFL for a few reasons. He's got okay length. His athleticism's pretty middling and likely just going to kick into guard when he gets to the NFL. Won't surprise me if they try him out at guard at the Senior Bowl. Really lacks core strength and sometimes gets caught waist bending, which you never like to see that, because then when that tends to happen, guys will dip their eyes down low and not know what's going on around him, and that's actually one of his best traits, is knowing what's going on around him, and we'll get to that when we talk about some of the pros. But he plays with very wide hands, so it really allows the strike zone, just leaves it open for guys to get up and get underneath. Doesn't play with that nasty mentality the NFL loves, and this is really noticeable at the second level, where he kind of turns a bit into a lunger. And honestly, footwork could be quicker. It's not high end, but it kind of is what it is. If you move to the inside or to the interior of the offensive line, you could get by with being just kind of a middling athlete. But this cat, some of his best work is just the overall understanding of how to play the position and what he does pre-snap in terms of understanding and recognizing blitzes, stunts, and how to operate and react to them properly. He does a good job sinking his hips, and he sealed the edge off very well for the Monarchs past couple of seasons. Has desirable power, and he does his best work in close quarters. He does a real good job of shoring the space between him and defenders, and I really like how he moves upfield as a blocker. Like I said, middle athlete, not a guy that really can move sideline to sideline, a guy that you would want, maybe not really want as a puller. But I mean, you move him to guard, that suddenly becomes a bit more tantalizing, and I ultimately think that's kind of where he ends up. Currently got a 6th round grade on him. Moving to another offensive line prospect in Tyler Steen out of Alabama, but not initially out of Alabama, as he is formerly a Commodore. Used to play for Vandy. Former 3-star recruit from the 2018 class. His dad played for LSU, ended up going to the Marines after that. He was recruited initially, Steen, as a defensive lineman. He played as a pass rusher in high school, and he did initially his freshman season play along the D-line, though he didn't really see much time on the field. And then over the course of the offseason, moved to the tackle position. Actually started right out the gate as the left tackle for Vandy, and he's really been the starter there ever since 2021. Then he chose to transfer to Alabama as a grad transfer and had a solid year. Ended up being second team all SEC. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, this guy was pretty impressive. A lot of the losses there on Alabama came via the interior. It wasn't their tackles losing a ton. And Steen looked good. I mean, across from him, J.C. Lathan is probably going to end up being a first rounder in 2024. But Steen boasts good size, good movement skills. He's very quick out of his stance. He's very fast at resetting if he needs to, or redropping his anchor, so to speak. Good kick slide. He loves just right in pass rushers past the pocket. It's kind of his cup of tea, if that's what you want to say. His hands are quick. They're active, and we'll get to one of the cons because they could definitely be a bit more precise in where he's hitting. But he shows good understanding of leverage and blocking angles. Nice wide base, strong core, makes him a very alluring prospect. And combine that with his range as a blocker, and he's a guy that really just fits today's NFL. And currently got an early day 3 grade on him, potentially even 4th or late day 2. I think that guy could rise with a good Senior Bowl, another Senior Bowl invite if you didn't know. But this is a guy that does play off balance a lot. He plays with his head out in front of his feet. You don't want to see that. He is a bit of a lunger. You see that in pass protection occasionally. He wants to be the first to the point of attack. So he's typically attacking instead of coming back and setting in pass sets. And you kind of don't want to see that. I think it was Alaric Jackson from Iowa a few years back that really struggled with that. You saw that at the Senior Bowl where it was like, all right, man, this guy's probably going to have to, just with that tendency, that mentality, you're going to have to go to like a play action heavy scheme. But you also see it as a run blocker, as he'll typically lunge at the second level and kind of whiff on some blocks. The hands could be more precise, more surgical. So the hand usage could be better, but his hands are exceptionally quick. So again, a guy with a lot going on and a lot that I like. Oh man, Gojo's at the door right now. He wants to come in for this next one because this was a cat I liked last year. Come in here, bud. Didn't even shout out the sponsor of today. You know what? No sponsor today. If you want to support the channel, check out the sponsors in the description below. But we're talking Justin Shorter out of Florida. This was a cat I loved out of that LSU game, so much so that I actually used it as in the nice little overlay you see here. But this dude's got a very interesting backstory, and I say backstory, but interesting background, if you want to call it that. He was a former 5-star recruit, so a lot of pedigree. Dude, 6'5", 228 when he came out. Listed at Florida, though, at 6'4", 223. Wide receiver, if you didn't know. And he was initially a Nittany Lion. This was a cat that was initially recruited by Penn State. Also participated in track and field, but in his during high school. But in his freshman season, he actually suffered a hamstring injury, decided to redshirt that season, and then during the off season, he kind of struggled with keeping his weight down. The rumor was he was up to as big as 250. There was talks about using him as a potential tight end. However, they decided not to do that. And in 2019, he started, I think, 5 games and just was slowed down by another injury. This one undisclosed, so don't know what it specifically was. And after that, he decided to transfer. And I will say this: weight issues haven't been a problem at Florida, but I guess we'll get to that when we talk about some of the cons. But decided to transfer to Florida, and he appeared in all 10 games in the short 2020 season, but didn't make any starts. 2021, he became a starter. He would suffer a scary fall in the bowl game in 2021, if you remember. There were thoughts he might have had a neck injury, but he was cleared fairly soon after that, or cleared to travel back with the team and such. Decided to return for the 2022 season, and he would play 9 games, but he did miss time this year with a lingering hamstring issue. Let's go ahead, get to some of the things I don't like about him. And first off, you got 2 concerns you want to talk about. The weight gain at Penn State, but again, it hadn't been a problem here at Florida, so I think that's a big nothing burger. And the hamstring injuries, like we talked about this with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he's really just had the one this year. Shorter has a track record of hamstring injuries, so that's something that will need to be looked at when they have the combine and such. Now, he never really enjoyed a breakout year. Never cleared over 600 yards in any given season. Not a very sudden athlete, if you couldn't tell, at 6'4", 223. And he's a guy that just likes to win with his size, and that's fine. Ran a small route tree there at Florida, and while he was good at the contest, like good enough at the contested catch, I don't think it's enough to really make him a top round prospect. We're talking like even early day 3, in my opinion. And not a guy that creates too much after the catch. Like, he's big, but he typically goes down. Now, things I do like about him, being a big receiver, he brings a big catch radius. He's got very strong hands. He's made a plethora of highlight reel catches throughout his career. His contested catch numbers are solid. They're average for these bigger guys that will struggle to get separation at the NFL. So, that's kind of be his bread and butter at the NFL. And he's got good straight line speed. And I'm not going to lie, because there were talks about moving him to tight end at Penn State. And like you heard the name Mike Gesicki brought up a ton during that time. And I think a move to tight end is not a bad option for Shorter. Currently got him listed as a UDFA. I liked him a bit better last year, but now looking more into him in terms of, watching more tape and going through the background, there are a bit more concerns than simply, I watched this guy, I like this guy. There's a bit more concerns there when it comes to Shorter. On to the next, Deontay Banks, corner, out of Maryland, 6'2", 205. Oh, do you like that one, Gojo? Do you like that one? Calm down, bud. Calm down. All right, so let's get to Mr. Deontay Banks, because this was a cat that was on Mel Kiper's big board, that video we did Friday. Now, former 3-star recruit from the 2018 class. Buddy, Gojo. You want me to let you out, my dude? Come on. Dog is nuts. Love him, though. But he also participated in track in high school. So, guy came out of the 2019 class, played in 11 games his freshman season while starting the last 8. He played in 5 games, making 3 starts in the shortened 2020 season. And in 2021, he only had 2 starts because he ended up going down with a season-ending shoulder injury. But he returned this year, looked good, was an all Big Ten honorable mention. And let's get into it, because I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not feeling the same hype as Mel was. Some of the things I like about him: huge frame, obviously, at 6'2", 205, plays with good physicality. He makes it tough for receivers to get off the line and press, and will stick in the hip pocket of receivers. Shows good speed and is a very fluid mover. So I can see why Mel, like some of the things Mel really likes about him. He's very tough at the catch point, and versus the run, he does a very good job of freeing himself off of blocks. Only had 1 missed tackle this past season. Also, you see a wealth of experience. This guy's been a starter ever since he stepped foot on campus for Maryland, and only missed time during 2021 because of the injury. However, this guy can be overtly physical. Like, there were a lot of there was a lot of times during routes that he really should have drew flags. I was like, holy moly, calm down. Reel it back, my friend. There were far too many routes, at least that I thought, that I caught on to, that he seemed a step or 2 behind. And like a lot of his pass breakups or ball skills were results of underthrown passes. That's just a fact of the matter. There were also times where it seemed like he would take plays off, didn't really show urgency if he felt like he was out of the play. So there were a lot of things that I actually came across that I didn't like about him. I've currently slapped an early day 3 grade on him. I think that's fair. So obviously not as high as Mel Kiper is on him, but still ended up watching him. Seems like one of the better corners in this class. Speaking of better corners, we got Josh Newton, the Fig Newton himself out of TCU. Cornerback, 6 foot, 195. This guy was wonderful this past season. Former 2-star recruit from the 2018 class. He was recruited as a receiver, but converted to cornerback his freshman season while using the red shirt, and this was while playing at Louisiana Monroe. If you didn't know, he was a transfer. Started every game in 2019 and in 2020, and then in 2021 he played in every game with 10 starts, and then decided to transfer to TCU. And you could just listen to some of these guys, this cat's interviews. This guy's got leadership. I'm not surprised that people talk about him being such a vocal leader for the squad. Really doesn't surprise me, because he is. This is a cat that he's a very physical corner. He loves dictating where and how fast the receivers will go. He knows how to use the sideline as leverage and gives the quarterbacks very little room for error. He'll stick receivers, or he'll stick in the receiver's hip pocket, and he'll do a very good job of reading their eyes if he feels he's behind on the play, and he reacts appropriately. That's why he has so many pass breakups through his career. 23 through his career, 6 interceptions. So you like the ball skills he has. Dude just has a nose for the football. Natural born leader. A very sure tackler. I think he had a 2.9% missed tackle rate this past season. And he will not stay engaged on blocks. Now, First thing I noticed, I felt like I was not able to get a good grasp of this cat's speed. And I think a lot of that is because of the physicality he plays with. Because at first I was like, honestly, I was going to the Oklahoma State game, going to the Iowa State game, and I was like, this guy's got all right speed. It's all right. It's just okay. But then you go to the Texas game, he lined up in the slot on a few plays against Xavier Worthy and ran down the field stride for stride for stride with him. And I was like, well, heck, dude, are you fast or are you not? Now, compare the routes that it seems perhaps that he struggles with suddenness and he can be a tick slow on breaks when running with receivers. Maybe gets a little lost at the stem of routes, and that's kind of what I'm settling on. I feel like this guy ultimately he'll test out on like a 4.45, maybe a 4.45. Like if it's anything what I saw in the Oklahoma State Iowa State game, I think that might be at worst that's where his speed will be at. He's also a very physical quarter, and even more so when he falls behind a step. There were actually a few cases where I was like, this cat's lucky he didn't get a flag thrown on him. I think he was only flagged once this year, and I think there were multiple cases where I was like, that's pass interference in the NFL. That's not gonna fly. There are sometimes downfield he could do a better job of going up and attacking the football. We saw that in the first game against Kansas State, lost on essentially a jump ball that he had the better position on. But overall, really like this cat. I decided also to slap an early day 3 grade on him. All right, go to the quarterback position for this one. We're talking Clayton Tune out of Houston. And you know what, man? I think Gojo wants to get in for this one. Gojo, you got to make up your mind. You want to be inside or outside, bud? You want to be inside or outside? But let's talk about Clayton Tune, because this is like my Bailey Zappi of this draft. He is 6'3", 220. Former 3-star recruit from the 2018 class. As a freshman, he played in 5 games with while starting the final 2 games because Derek Keene got hurt or went down to injury. Keene did enter 2019 as the starter, but once again, Tune stepped in because of injury, started the final 7, and then in a shortened 2020 season where he finally became the starter, started all 8 games, started every game in 2021, returned to in 2022 because of the extra year of eligibility. I believe he has accepted both a Shrine and Senior Bowl invite, so it'll be interesting to see if he leaves early from the Shrine Bowl to go attend the Senior Bowl, or if he just decides to forego this Shrine Bowl altogether and just go to the Senior Bowl. But this guy, after immediately watching him, I was like, this guy's floor is probably high-end backup in the NFL. Like, I think he has the ability to be a top 20 starter in the NFL, but we're talking that's his ceiling. And I mean, at that range, you're basically in the bridge quarterback range, or you're just good enough to keep a team from drafting another quarterback. But I definitely think he's gonna be at the very least a high-end backup. Doesn't have the hugest arm, but he throws with a lot of precision, a lot of anticipation, especially on the short to intermediate levels of the field. I like his pre-snap recognition. He's able to read when and where pressure is going to be coming from, and he sets a clock in his head. Like he stands in the pocket. He quickly goes through progressions, and he delivers the ball on time. Like this guy is a guy that likes to play in rhythm, and he plays with good timing. However, he's got plus mobility. Like, he can extend plays with his legs or just take off running. He understands his arm is limited and will throw a bit more with touch on deeper balls. And dude just has a lot of starting experience. He's a very vocal leader for the Cougars. Overall, you're getting a kid that understands the game. He understands his limitations, and he plays just with a contagious moxie about him. But again, his arm is middling by NFL standards. You do see inconsistencies with his deep ball, whether if it's accuracy, whether it's just sails on him. His arm isn't impressive, and it's definitely better than the baseline you'll see in the NFL. But it's still not like a high end or even above average arm, I would say. While I said he was mobile, he's not a guy that's going to be winning with his legs in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. He'll be able to extend plays and maneuver the pocket, but he's not going to be scaring the defense with the plays he can make with his legs. That's just not him. Also, he throws with a lot of confidence, but this is a little bit different. Bailey Zappi, I thought last year, threw with confidence in his arm. Like he thought he was like, you know what, I'm confident in my arm being able to make this throw. While Tune is more confident in his receivers being able to make a play. Like, if he really trusts his guys, he'll put it up there for them to go and get it. And this has led to questionable throws and turnovers. But still, I like that mentality. It comes off as very Taylor Heineke-like. And everyone loves Taylor Heineke. But he does have the better size. I think ultimately he does have better tools than a guy like Heineke. But a guy that I walked away from like, man, I wish I watched this cat sooner. I've seen a lot of Houston games this year, but not like specifically for sitting down and watching Tune. Did I been saying Tooney this whole time? Clayton Tune. There we go. Hopefully I haven't been saying Tooney. But yeah, no, like I walked away really liking this cat. And we're on to the defensive side of the football once again with Keandre Corbin, or Coburn, out of Texas. He's the nose tackle at 6'2", 343. Had a very good year, kind of a breakout year as a pass rusher. And I'm pretty confident I haven't talked about him in my videos this year. If he did make it in a video, it might have been a stock report. But he was a 4-star recruit from the 2018 class, redshirt his freshman year. Started all 12 games in 2019. He started 33 of 35 games since 2019. Just a guy that's been consistently with this Texas team through all the bad and now, I guess, the come up. But this dude's a compact player at 6'2", 243. He's a big boy, but naturally low to the ground, or at least lower compared to other defensive linemen. Plays with a lot of power, plays with natural leverage, does a good job of setting the line of scrimmage and creating pile-ups in the run game. He'll eat up double teams, wins at the point of attack with, guess what, powerful hands. Yeah, I imagine you're powerful when you are 343. Does a good job of tracking the ball in the backfield, and if he gets even just a hand on you, you're going down. Maybe even a finger. Good first step. Combines that with a strong anchor and just nose tackle size that you're gonna look at this guy at the very least as a valuable rotation player, maybe even starter potentially, because nose tackle feels like it's kind of a position in the NFL that doesn't really go highly drafted. But I will say a lot of his pass rush ability showed up this season in his 5th year. Like, he lacks actual pass rush moves, and honestly, I don't know if pass rush will be something he'll be able to replicate in the NFL. A guy that does play with natural leverage, but does rely on his short stature to do so, and doesn't do a good job at sinking low with the hips and driving. But overall, you're getting a nose tackle, which not a lot of teams got good nose tackles, and you're getting one that is very good as a run defender. This guy is getting drafted easy. I think I got him as an early or a 5th rounder as of right now. So big fan. I think we see him at the Senior Bowl. So I'm looking forward to that. And then the final guy on this list is Ronnie Bell, wide receiver out of Michigan. 6 foot, 190. I don't think I've talked about him at all this season. So now is the time, because admittedly, I'm not the biggest Ronnie Bell fan in the world. Former 3-star recruit from the 2018 class. He was scouted as a basketball player by Missouri State. Saw playing time through his freshman season. Became the starter in 2019. If not for a knee injury in the season opener, he would have very likely been in the 2022 class. Decided to return. Had a solid year. And like, sure, man, this guy's very quick. Super smooth athlete. Plays fast. Plays explosive. Usually he's tasked with playing in the slot and finding kind of the soft spot in coverage. That's kind of his thing. But he has shown off an ability to separate even when put on the outside. I like the balance in close quarters and along the sideline. As a ball carrier, has that stop-start ability, tracks the ball very well deep. However, anytime this guy really lined up on the outside, and this really points to his 2020 tape, I thought he struggled to get off the line of scrimmage. This season, he did play more on the outside than he did the prior year in the slot. He played back in 2021 over 66% of the time in the slot. So I don't think necessarily on the outside this is an indication that he can play on the outside. He does, like, more times than not, he's going to make you miss. That's the type of ball carrier he is. Usually going down on first contact, however. So more so he's going to make you miss. Doesn't really have that tight rope like contact balance. Usually always uses his hands to catch the ball, and doesn't always use his hands to catch the football, and will sometimes let the ball hit his pads and make body catches. Career drop rate is around 10%. If you didn't know, when a drop rate's hovering at 10%, huge red flag. He's growing at making catches in traffic, but I think he's still got a little further to go in that regard. He does slow down to make the catch, and he's a bit more clunky when making that transition from pass catcher to ball carrier. It's not as fluid as you would like to see it. It was like that very fluidness that made a guy like Jahan Dotson a first rounder. So Ronnie Bell, I like him more somewhere on day 3 right now. I don't think he's necessarily pigeonholed into the slot, but a guy that will probably play slot more early than not in his career. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.